Fresh meat.
You've done quite a bit of stuff. Your work is very varied, and I really respect that. You're obviously multi-talented. So how do you prepare for a role like Chambers, which I think is kind of more of a tough action sci-fi role, as opposed to uh, a masterpiece of a show, which is a sci-fi drama, Man in the High Castle?
It's first of all, I had done a movie previously with John Suits called Pandemic. Yeah, we were a little bit ahead of our time. And I made a joke. I said I would shoot a deodorant commercial with him. I enjoyed working with him so much. So this role, yeah, it was a little, I've got some sci-fi stuff between, Continuum and, Star Trek and stuff. But yeah, obviously not playing a knife-wielding Nazi in this situation. I read the script. I thought, well, this is kind of different. It's different. I hadn't played a doctor before, and John was directing it, and I said, yeah, why not? Let's go see what Fitzgerald, Georgia has to offer.
And this isn't your first action role, Ray's P2, which I love, and I'll ask about that a little bit later.
Hey.
Yeah. So what is there something about physical roles that kind of like attract you, or is it kind of...
This iPad's kind of an asshole. Sorry. It's a total asshole. I'll just sit down lower. Okay, maybe I'll just do like this. I look like a hermit or something. I love action, and I got my first taste of action shooting Alias. And luckily, I had a lovely mentor in Jennifer Garner and a wonderful stunt team. And I had my first action scene ever, and I was petrified. And it was awesome, and I had so much fun. And so I loved that part of it. And then, and I like the physical stuff. And one day I'm going to be old and gray and no longer able to do the physical stuff. So I might as well do all of it while I have the opportunity. And then the sci-fi side of things, I'm drawn to it because I was never really a sci-fi fan growing up. But I love that you can escape and have fun and watch the film or a TV show or whatever it is. But it's also, sci-fi is a thinking person's game as well. And that I find very interesting because there are rules and regulations and things that you got to do. Because if you do something wrong, sci-fi fans will hunt you down and kill you in the street like a dog.
You've worked with some amazing stars. You've worked with Ryan Reynolds, Nichols Cage. You just worked with Bruce Willis. That kind of level of like old school talent, especially Cage and Willis, does that change how you approach things? I mean, is there advice? Do you have to work different with people that have kind of been doing this so long, or is it almost like an independent game?
Because when you're working with a veteran, whether it's Nicolas Cage or obviously Bruce Willis or Tom Hanks, when I did Charlie Wilson's War, even though I was basically a glorified extra with very few lines. When you're working with these people, you have to kind of feel out what they want, like what their preferences are, I will say, as a person, because they're these legends and they're these idols, and there are some people I'm sure that don't want to be looked at in the eye and don't want anybody to talk to them. But I've been extremely, extremely fortunate. Tom Hanks is one of the nicest people on the planet. Nick Cage was wonderful to work with. He was wonderful to work with. And Bruce, I got to tell you, I didn't quite know, because he's a big badass action guy, and what if he's a total dick? That was, I mean, of course you have to think about stuff like that. Like what if he's, or he or she, whoever it is what if they're not nice? And he, despite his persona in many movies, he's so lovely and so sweet, and he's kind to everybody and inviting and warm. Still a total badass, but it was a nice relief for me, since I was playing a character, Chambers, that's so close to his character, that I wasn't scared of him. Because I don't think the movie would have worked at all if Chambers was petrified. But yeah, you kind of got to get on set, meet this famed, beloved person, and see what you think your personality and their personality, how it's going to go and mesh together. You got to kind of feel it out before you fuck it up and they fire you. Can I swear? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's for YouTube, so I say, fuck it, do it.
Yay for swearing.
So what about this? And you've worked with so many people. Is there somebody, it doesn't matter what genre, of course, is there an actor or actress that you haven't worked with that you would love to, that you're like, man, that's the goal right there?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I have a very long list, but I love Emma Thompson. I love Emma Thompson. I love her. She's right at the top of my list. Natalie Portman is also at the top of my list. I followed her career ever since before I even knew I was gonna have a career in the same career, and I really, really enjoy her work. I've had the wonderful fortune of working. I worked with Philip Seymour Hoffman on Charlie Wilson's War, and then directed by also the late great Mike Nichols on Charlie Wilson's War. And although they're not with us any longer, those were, even then, even though that wasn't a big role, those were people that I looked up to. I couldn't believe it. I was on the set with these people. But yeah, I mean, Emma Thompson really is at the top of my list. Natalie Portman's at the top of my list. I love to watch Kate Blanchett, also right up there.
Class act, class act.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love being, it's difficult because sometimes as an actor you're looking at things that are actory, like, oh well, this is happening, well this shouldn't have happened, or you pick it apart, or you pick the character apart, or you're trying to think. I could lose myself in anything that any of them have done and not even say, oh well, that's Emma Thompson, whether it's I'm watching Stranger Than Fiction, or I mean, yeah, she's at the top. She's at my top.
P2. I've always loved it. Saw it in theaters back in the day. I notice now it's finally getting the due of kind of being this cool Christmas cult classic. Have you noticed, or have you got any sort of feedback on the fact that that's finally kind of growing in the audience, and maybe it didn't hit as well back in the day, but it's kind of getting its due now?
I have actually, and I so greatly appreciate it because it has become this sort of Christmas cult thing that you just mentioned. And I remember seeing Wes Bentley dance with the teddy bear, and I adored Wes. I adored him. I was fairly new to the business relatively, and he was very protective of me, and he was just, I mean, offset, we spent all of our time together because we shot 2 months of nights. So we were up we shot 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. for 2 months. So on the weekends, we had to keep up the same schedule. So we were partners in crime, and he really taught me a lot. But I remember seeing him dancing with the teddy bear and just thinking, this is going to have its day. It's going to come around. People are going to catch on to this. And I have so many people that will tweet me or take pictures on Instagram posts like, oh, I had to park on P2. So I'm really proud of it now going back, and because yeah, it wasn't like a runaway hit or anything when it came out. It was kind of nothing really, not to take away from it, but it wasn't. And then now, years and years later, people love it and they watch it, and they'll text me they'll tweet at me saying, I watch it, and I'm like, great, maybe it'll start playing, I can get some residuals.
I was looking up the night at the Carriage House. Is there anything you can tell me about that? Because it says it's in pre-production now, and I think that seems like a really cool ghost story. And I'd kind of like to see your take on that.
It is a really cool ghost story. And what I'm allowed to tell you right now is that I'm going to be taking a departure from my normal role, and I'm going to be playing the evil one. And it is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to start shooting it. I know that obviously the film I'm working on now, we're in COVID, and I'm assuming that the protocols are going to continue for a while on film sets. And I'm proud to say that the film I'm working on now has taken every precaution. We get tested every week. Nobody leaves the compound. They've been doing a really good job. And I will say, because I know some people out there saying, well, it's added expense and it's slowing down production. Well, the added expense you can figure in, and it's not slowing down production. It really isn't. I mean, everybody, yeah, sure. Is today our day off and we had to get COVID tested at 8 a.m.? Yep. Is it worth it to know in 15 minutes? Yep. Was everybody healthy? Yep. Okay, then we can go to work on Tuesday. So I'm really excited about Night at the Carriage House. And I know that it will probably still be in, you know, pandemic mode then, but that's going to shoot in upstate New York, which I love. And it means if I stay healthy, and I'm already in upstate New York, I'm going to go see my parents in Maine when it's done shooting. But yes, I can tell you that it'll be a different side of me.
Hopefully we get to talk again when that comes out. You know, it's be fun.
Absolutely, anytime.
All right, well, I want to say thank you for your time. I appreciate everything. Please be safe and enjoy the South. Get some good food.
I can't leave here. I got to cook my own shit.
Get some delivery. That's the best part of the South. They have the best food.
I am in Lumberton. It is 3 hours away from New Orleans. Last night I had top ramen for dinner. I'm making my own shit. I wish I could get nice stuff, but you know what? I'll eat top ramen. It's cool. All right.
Thank you for your time.
Bullets were useless.
What about fire?
Might work.
All right, who wants barbecue?